The Kung Fu Musician Mindset. So I'm a musician trained in Kung Fu. And back in 1997, I won second place in a world tournament. But the journey to get to that point was really, really tough. But I learned some extremely valuable lessons along the way that I still to this day apply in my music career to stay booked and stay on people's first call list as a musician. So in this video, I'm going to share that journey and the lessons with you. And by the end of this video, you're going to have the Kung Fu musician mindset as well. So back in 1995, my best friend and I were sitting in his bedroom playing video games. And we got into a conversation about martial arts. So I had always been a martial arts fan. All of the Chinese Kung Fu movies, I guarantee you, I've probably seen all of them. I've been into them since I was a kid. And as we were growing up, I got him into them as well. So while we were playing video games, we got into a conversation about martial arts. And I remember exactly what we were talking about. But somewhere in that conversation, I remember saying, man, you know what? We should take Kung Fu. And he responded like, yeah, we should. That's what we should do. And I kid you not, the very same day we got the phone book. This is dating how old we are. This is back before cell phones. You had to look up numbers in a phone book. But we got the phone book, looked up Kung Fu schools in our area, and we found the one Kung Fu school in our area that was kind of close to us and that we could get to really easily. And we literally went to sign up to take Kung Fu lessons the very same day. And I think our first lesson was probably about 3 or 4 days later, because I think this was like a weekend. And then the first class was on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. And so we get to this first class, man, and I'm telling you, I'm excited. I'm finally about to get to learn all of these moves that I've been seeing on these Kung Fu shows and movies. Like I'm seeing, how you see all of the Kung Fu is like, ha, ha. I'm about to learn all of this stuff. And, I'm about to get it, man. Like it's about to come to me. But I was in for a wake up call, man, because what I learned in that process was that getting to that point to be able to do what I saw the martial artists doing in the movies and all of that. And of course, all of that is, or most of it is choreographed. But even getting somewhere close to that point was a painstakingly slow process. I'm talking about painstakingly slow. But again, in that process, in that journey of matriculating through Kung Fu and ranking up and getting my belts and winning second place in a tournament, I got some really, really valuable lessons along the way. So let me share 3 of the most valuable lessons with you that I got from that journey and how I apply them in my life and in my career now to, again, just stay successful or stay above the water, so to speak. So the first most valuable lesson that I learned in my Kung Fu journey was about grit and about discipline. So in martial arts, in Kung Fu, and in most of the martial arts that you see, karate, all of these, jiu-jitsu and all of this kind of stuff, you have what's called stances. And this is how you stand, to establish a base when you're getting ready to throw a kick or a punch. And the most common stance that you probably know the name of it is called the horse stance. And the horse stance is a very important stance in all of martial arts, but particularly in Kung Fu, because again, it establishes the base. So in Kung Fu, we train the legs to do the horse stance a lot. It's painstakingly. So it's actually a part of our rank test. So when we're testing to test up for our belts, and by the way, the belt system for us, we start at white belt. We actually don't wear the white belt. It's just like your beginner. Then you get the yellow belt, then the orange belt, green, blue, purple, brown, and black. That's our system. So with ranking up to each of those belts, you have to demonstrate your horse stance, and you have to hold that horse stance for a certain amount of time. Now, what the horse stance look like, I'll demonstrate this for you. I'll show you some footage on the screen here, but what you're doing is you have to sit with your legs sort of parallel, your thighs sort of parallel to the ground with your arms out in front of you and sort of like a circle kind of thing. And for each test, again, you have to hold that stance for a certain amount of time. So the one that I'm showing here, I think I'm testing for my green belt here, and I have to hold this horse stance in place. I think it was for 4 minutes. And when I tell you, this is no joke. Most people, like now, if you try to do this, you probably can't even do it over a few seconds. But in Kung Fu, we have to do it for that long free. And by the time you get to black belt, you have to hold it for like 8 minutes. And you get down into this horse stance and you hold it. And the clock starts. And the clock is going and your legs are shaking. You're tired. You feel like getting up. You feel like, man, I can't do this. Your legs are about to give out on you. And you see some of the other people around you get up out of their horse stance because they can't complete it. And you see all of this happening and you're sweating. And again, you're grinding your teeth because it hurts. It really hurts to stay down in that position for a very long time. But you find the grit, you find the discipline to stay there. You find that sort of gumption to put the goal of gaining your belt, gaining your new rank out front, and you don't let anything come in between you. And you work for that day. You train for that day. So it's not like you start at 4 minutes. You start at 30 seconds and then you start adding more and more and more to it. So by the time you get there, hopefully your mind is right and you've established that grit and that discipline. And this is the first lesson that Kung Fu taught me. Again, it was about discipline, about when you see things around you and other people around you giving up and throwing in the towel and saying, this isn't for me. I can't do this. I'm too old. I don't have enough. I don't know enough. I don't have all of this. They're sweating all of this stuff. It's like they have an excuse to give up. It hurts. What this lesson taught me was to dig in, stay in that stance, stay on my path, keep going where I know, and keep my eyes on the prize, on the goal that I want to achieve, on the belt, on the new rank, because I know it's going to take me going through that to get to this new rank that I want to get through. So this is the lesson for you when you are thinking about what you want to achieve in your music career, what you want to achieve in life, in your relationships, any of these things. You got to dig in. There's going to be times that it's going to hurt. It's going to feel painful. You're going to be tired. You're not going to feel like doing it. But if you dig in and if you find that grit and you find that discipline to maintain, you will get the new rank. You will get to the success that you want to achieve. So that's the first lesson. Now, the second lesson is about sweating the small stuff. So it's funny. One of the things that when I started Kung Fu that was a wake-up call for me was learning how to punch and kick correctly. Now, you think going into martial arts, it's like, how hard is it to throw a punch? It's just like you ball up your fist and just, throw a punch. Or if you're going to kick, you just pick your leg up and kick somebody. We've been doing this since we were little babies. Like we would kick something as babies. Like how hard can it be? And so when we were learning, when my teacher, my master, the term for it in Chinese is called Sifu. So my Sifu, my teacher, was showing us how to punch and kick, and he would show us meticulously how to ball up our fist correctly and how to throw a punch correctly and how basically at the end of the punch you twist to kind of get more torque on it, and then to use these two knuckles here on your fist when you're punching, because you can break your hand when you punch something or someone too hard. You can actually break your hand. So there's a correct way to do it. And there's a correct way to start from your stance, from your horse stance or whatever stance you're in, to throw a punch and a kick correctly. And it was all of these meticulous things. Like literally we would spend an entire class, like an hour and a half, literally just throwing a punch correctly. Learn how to ball up your fist correctly, starting here and using your body as you twist. I can't do it because I'm sitting down, but like twisting with the punch so you get more torque from your body as well, to the point to where I was able to throw a punch and break boards. But it was the small stuff within those punches and kicks that I didn't know about and that I wasn't aware of that contributed to me being able to break, 3 or 4 boards at one time. It was the slow, painstaking, getting back, drawing back, and then balling my fist up in a certain way, slowly throwing a punch with my arm and my entire body to the point of where these 2 knuckles here are driving into whatever it is that I'm punching. The same thing with my kick, standing and coming from a horse stance to the kick, where my leg would have to come up a certain height, and you have to use the top of your foot, and you have to kick. If you're using your top of your foot to kick something or someone, kick with a certain part of your foot, because you can break your foot too if you do that wrongly. And it was just this really meticulous process that I was like, man, why are we even going through all of this? Like, again, how hard is it to throw a punch? But the valuable lesson that taught me was, when you want to get somewhere in life, when you want to achieve something, when you want to get to success as a musician, as a person, or wherever in life, there's a certain amount of small stuff that you have to sweat. I know there's common knowledge and common belief out there about, oh, don't sweat the small stuff. And that's probably true in some situations. But when it comes to your music, when it comes to what you want to achieve, you gotta sweat the small stuff. How I apply that and how I recommend musicians apply that are in things like when you're learning music. If you're learning music to, be a part of someone else's band or someone else's show or something like that, don't just sit there and listen to the music like, oh man, I got the chord changes on it, or I got the beat to it. Drummers are notorious for this. Listen to a song one time, oh, I see how the beat goes, I got it. When you're able to sit, no, let me study this music. Let me listen for the things in this music that contribute to the song, and I'm going to add them in my playing. So when I show up, all of my meticulousness that I've brought to my practice session when I'm learning music, it's showing in everybody. Everybody's like, wow, man, you played that part in there, like, and you guided me on that. I don't even know that was in there. I was like, yeah, bro, that's like an important part of the song. And these are the kind of things that keeps you booked. These are the things that keep you, again, on people's first call list, because they develop a trust in you and know that you're going to put in the effort. You're going to put in the time. Hey, when you call Terrence to learn some music, he's going to show up and he's going to know this stuff. Like, there's not going to be any ambiguity about it. That's how you apply this lesson. You sweat the small stuff. It has to do with things like even being personable. A lot of the lessons that I talk about all the time with us musicians is about being personable and about being relational with people so that we develop relationships with people that we want to hire us. So remembering birthdays, remembering people's kids' names, remembering, important dates and stuff in their life. That is sweating the small stuff. That's what makes you a special person, and that's what puts you above other people. And let me tell you the good news about this. We live in a society now where people are, for lack of a better way to put it, really, really lazy. And, for good reason in some of the cases, but generally speaking, people are really lazy and they don't put in a lot of effort. And what that means for you as it pertains to sweating the small stuff, you don't even really have to do much. You just got to do a little bit more than everybody else, which is, again, that bar is really low nowadays. The fact that I was on a gig last week and someone sent me a set list, and I typically don't get set lists and stuff that I don't know songs on. I mean, it'll happen every now and then where there's 1 or 2 songs. And that was this situation for me last week. And it was a song I was like, man, let me start shedding this song right now. Let me get this down. And it's so funny, when I got to the gig, the person that hired me, the first question they asked me, hey man, do you know such and such song? I was like, yeah, bro, I got it. He's like, oh man, I don't know if we're going to do it because I don't know if I have it or not. I'm like, you sent me the set list. You put the song on the set list, but you don't have it down. Right. So you see how that works. So again, it's about sweating the small stuff. That's the second most valuable lesson that I've gotten from my Kung Fu journey. Now, the third lesson, this is a really important one. I always give the best one as the sort of last lesson. This is my favorite lesson. The third lesson is about staying focused. So another part of the Kung Fu journey and about gaining your new belts, about ranking up to new belts and all of that kind of stuff, one of the biggest part of the test, the rank test as we call it, is not only the horse stance, holding the horse stance for a certain amount of time, but you have to demonstrate being able to fight multiple people at the same time. Now, for each rank, so when you're still a yellow belt, you only have to fight 2 people at one time, or only one person. When you're orange belt, it's like 2 people. Going up to green belt, it's like 3 people. And then by the time you get to black belt, you have to literally fight, I think it was 8, 9 people at the same time. So one person against 8 or 9 people. And I'll show you some footage of me doing this on the screen with me doing one of these rank tests. And as we started this fight, as I was starting to fight, I think it was 3 or 4 people in this particular video when I was ranking up, I was having some trouble. I was really nervous. I was like, oh man, how do you keep 3 or 4 people off of you at the same time? How do you when somebody's charging at you from 3 or 4 or 5 different directions, when things are coming at you like that, how do you not be scared? How do you because a big part of martial arts and Kung Fu in particular is about defense. It's about not getting hit. So how do I do this? How do I keep from getting hit? So the first round of this, you go 3 or 4 rounds of this, and just like a boxing match, you go one round of fighting 3 or 4 people. They blow the whistle for the bell to ring, and then you go to your corner or whatever. And so it's kind of like that thing. So after the first round, I was having a little bit of trouble. This is what happened. In my second round, my teacher pulled me aside. He saw that I was a little flustered and that I was a little nervous about ranking up and getting my belt and all of that. And he just literally said, Terrence, just focus. Just take a deep breath, pull yourself in, and focus. You've trained for this moment. You understand what this is about. You know how to handle this situation. He said those words to me, and I slowed down for a minute. My heart was beating real fast, and I just took a deep breath, kind of paused, got myself together, went back. They started the next round, blew the whistle. Here we go. And when we came out to that fight, when I tell you I held my own, these people were charging at me, throwing serious punches and kicks at me. I was dodging them. They never got me down to the ground. That's always what you want to try to prevent in a lot of these situations, letting someone get you down to the ground, because once they do, 5 people can jump on you, and the fight is over at that point. They never got me on the ground. I was able to manipulate my way around the situation and score some points in, enough for me to pass my rank test and get my new belt. And the lesson in this one is this. We live in a crazy world right now where things around us happening every day. As I'm making this video now, we had political figure last week that just got assassinated. It's just the craziest stuff going on. Particularly with us musicians, we deal with a lot. There's social media, there's pressure to perform, we want to be successful, we want to get gigs, and there's just a lot going on. Not to mention the things that we deal with in our personal lives from day to day, our relationships, our jobs, and all of that kind of stuff. But the lesson is this. When all of these things around you seem like they're hitting you, they're punching you, and they're kicking you, and it doesn't seem like you can get out of it. It doesn't seem like you can stay going forward. It doesn't seem like you can be successful. Focus. Pull yourself in. Take a deep breath, understand the journey that you're on, understand that you're prepared and that you've prepared for this moment that you're in right now, that we're all in. Stop, take a deep breath, focus, get back into the ring to go another round. And you continue that process until you get to the point to where you are successful. Whatever that looks like for you, if it's, having more gigs, whether it's making a lot more money from your gigs, whether it's going full time as a musician, focus, get back into that ring, keep fighting for another day. Don't let anyone come in and tell you that your dreams aren't achievable. That's something that a lot of people, even people that I was in close relationships with early on in my career, I had girlfriends to tell me, oh, being a musician ain't a real job. That was a punch thrown at me. Oh, Terrence, you're a musician? Like, really? That's the career that you have? That was a kick thrown at me. But what you have to do, let them be thrown, let them focus, or let that stuff be thrown at you, and you develop your focus. You don't think about that. You stay on your journey as a musician, as a band, as an artist, and you keep going. So these were the three most valuable lessons that I got from my Kung Fu journey. And again, I apply these not only in my music career, but in my life, in my relationships, and everything that I deal with every day. Again, it's about the three things that I mentioned. The first thing was about the grit and the discipline, about being disciplined and staying disciplined enough to stay in that fight, to stay down, to stay in that horse stance when everything around you seems like you're sweating, you're tired, you're hot. Make yourself get up and do what it is that you need to do. And then the second lesson was about sweating the small stuff. Be meticulous about your art, about your craft. Be specific about the things that you want to achieve in your career. If it's, again, a full-time musician or just making more money, put specific goals on that and put specific things in place to help you achieve those goals. And then again, the last one was about staying focused. When all of these things around you, when the world seems crazy, all of this stuff is going on around you, take a deep breath, focus, get back into the ring, keep fighting. So let me know what you think about these lessons that I got and that I've given you now that you have the Kung Fu musician mindset. Let me know what you think about them. Let me know if you have some other ones that you think are important, just life lessons. I know you may have not taken martial arts, but just any lessons that you have like that, drop them in the comments. I read all of the comments and I reply to most of them, and some of them I do videos on, so you may see yours in this video. And in the meantime, check out this video on the screen here, and I will see you in the next video.